For life. Oh yeah!
What's up, everybody? Wrestling Insight back with another tier list. This time we've got a title tier list. The WWF World Heavyweight title, to be specific. And we're going to be ranking every iteration of it from its humble beginnings in 1963 all the way to what we see today. Roman Reigns carry out once or twice every few months. The bling blingy gold undisputed WWE Championship. Now, again, we're going to be ranking this just on how they look. Okay, not their lore, not who's held them, what happened while they were around. No, just on the design. How good they look, how timeless the design is, how much nostalgia it gets out of people when you look at it. That's what we're going to be looking at today. And we're going to start. We're gonna name off here and there a few notable names that held these straps, but hey, that's not what we're ranking it on. Again, just the looks. But anyways, let's get started, guys. All the way at the beginning in 1963. This thing was around for 10 years, but if you ask me, it's pretty f***ing ugly. But I guess it's just a product of its time, right? If you look at what the NWA had, it isn't all that pretty either. So I guess you just gotta look at it for what it is. And I'm just gonna put it in the meh category. Very ugly title. Couple of names that held it: Buddy Rogers and Bruno Sammartino. Alright. 10 years later, in 1973, it would get a refresh, which, I mean, it's a little bit better. But look, when you think in 1973, the NWA also refreshed their title design. And that design is timeless, beautiful. One of the greatest professional wrestling title belts of all time. This does not get a pass. This is trash. I mean, there's just too much going on here. It's ugly. There's like, what is this, snakeskin? Like, what is going on? There's also a red strap version that was actually more prominent. I just couldn't find a good picture of it. And it looks a little bit better on the red strap, but still, I've got to put this design into the trash bin. 10 years it ran. 1973, 1983. A couple names, a few names rather, that held it. Pedro Morales, Bob Backlund, Bruno Sammartino. After it would be the Big Green title. It ran from 1983 1984. It hung around. Bob Backlund was the first one to introduce it, I believe. And then it's historic for being the belt that Hulk Hogan, the first title Hulk Hogan won in the WWF. So you got to give it props for that. But honestly, I don't like the design. Don't like the green strap. I don't like a round center plate. What is up with all of these gems just all over the place? All of these individual plates stacked up, making this super wide strap. It's bad, guys. It's bad. It's really bad. And I wanted to put it in meh because it's Hulk Hogan's first title, but and the WWF as far as world title, but it's trash, man. It's freaking trash. Thankfully, it would get a refresh in 1984 to 1985. Hulk Hogan would be the only man to ever wear this design. The first design was actually all silver on the black strap with a little bit of red paint to accent very minimal text in the belt, but it was hard to read, hard to make out, and very bland looking, so they did refresh it later on with this black background version, which was much better. But still, when I look at it, it reminds me of the NWA television title. It just doesn't look very unique. It's not inspired at all. And this design only ran for 2 years. And I'm going to say thankfully. It's a very meh title design. What came after it, though, I find really good looking. And unfortunate that it was only the WWF Championship for 2 years, because it's gorgeous and a timeless design. This is referred to as the World Hogan belt. Again, Hogan was the only man to hold this one. And it's referred to as the world title because of the flags here. It introduced the flags representing each country around the world, whereas the previous version of the title did not. Gorgeous belt. I really wish they would have came out with this, 4 years prior instead of the belts that they did, because this thing deserved a way longer run than 2 years. And I mean, because it only got a 2-year run, it's gonna have to it can't go into goated. But pretty awesome title design nonetheless. Next up is the most iconic title design ever, the Winged Eagle. It's my favorite belt. It's so many professional wrestling fans' favorite belt. This is what title design should be, man. This is a pro wrestling belt. So many good names held this. So many classic, legendary professional wrestlers. Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, Bret Hart, Randy Savage, The Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, The Undertaker. Forever my favorite title belt of all time. The Winged Eagle is goated. After the Winged Eagle, we got the Smoking Skull Stone Cold belt, the first ever in a string of very good wrestler-specific WWF Championship title belts. The Smoking Skull belt is so cool, man. I especially appreciated the snakeskin underneath the top leather. It's just a gorgeous, perfectly done title for Stone Cold, and the artwork and everything matches the late 90s so well. I gotta put this thing in awesome. In 98, and it ran for 4 years, from 98 until 2002, was the Big Eagle redesign of the title. Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. At the time, as a kid, I didn't like it. I didn't see a need for the Winged Eagle to go anywhere. But I get it. New, grungier attitude. Need a title refresh for the main title. And this was the aesthetic in the late 90s and early 2000s while this thing was around. Big, gaudy. You can remember the huge pants everyone was wearing, and the way oversized suits and whatnot. So yes, this thing was perfect for its time. I found the most flattering picture of it that I could, and if we'll zoom in here, I'm gonna give it its flowers. Look at this. They opted to use the WWF logo along as the pattern for the stitching all along the title, which was just a beautiful move. Genius. The side plates, they're all filled. All the spaces is used, and it's just really classy, beautiful side plates. The center plate, they gave many throwbacks to my beloved Winged Eagle. Look at the sides here. They kept the font for champion. The blue pops, very, very, very beautiful on the globes. A few jewels here, and it's just a great title. And then you think, this is the belt during the hottest period in professional wrestling history. Triple H held this belt at the peak of his career. The Rock, Stone Cold, all those guys held this belt up above their heads at one point or another. The Undertaker, right? Kane, I think, won this belt, right? It's freaking awesome. So, We gotta put it in goated, baby. Gotta put it in goated. What would come after is what I think is the final, just inspired genius WWF World Title design. The final good design. And that is this undisputed title that was used from 2002 until 2005. I love it so much, man. As soon as I look at it, I think of Eddie Guerrero. Also Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Hulk Hogan wore this belt for a while in his last run. The Undertaker, you know, JBL, The Rock, Triple H, John Cena. Historic title. The last great title design. And it is iconic. And for all of those reasons, it's got to go into goated status. It's goated. Unfortunately, what came after is not. The dreaded spinner belt. Now, look, if this would have just been John Cena's belt, specialty belt, man, it probably would have been goated, honestly, with the career that John Cena had. Unfortunately, Vince McMahon tried to play this off as the company's main title for 8 years. Way overstayed its welcome. Fans hated it. But now you look back at it and it's pretty iconic. And sadly, it is representative of the last kinda okay era in the WWE, at least in my opinion. So for that, I got to keep it out of the trash can. But the spinner still does not go anywhere higher than meh for me. One touch up on it that, you know, kind of greatly improved on it, just to be honest, is when Edge came out with his dedicated rated R superstar spinner title. A lot of people say this is their favorite belt of all time. I'm not in that camp, but I do love this belt. It fit Edge's personality perfectly and made the best use of the spinner that one could. And to acknowledge all those people that love it so much, I've got to put the rated R spinner belt into awesome. Now, after those 8 long years of fans dealing with a spinner and Vince completely ignoring them, we finally got a new belt. Everyone was so excited. Unfortunately, what happened is Vince went to Orange County Choppers, who had never made a title belt before in their lives, and had them make this messy looking thing. Okay, this champion font, ugly. Too much bling bling. Looks too much like the spinner belt still, in my opinion. I think a belt should also have it should have a nameplate. I don't like the side plates at all. Like it's just lazy, messy, bland, uninspired title design, and it goes into meh. Ran for 2 years. Okay, 2 years. Right? I think it was 2000 and well, it ran for about a year and a half. 2014, they made a real quick redesign on this thing, cleaned it up a little bit, and I've got to admit, this does look a little bit better, but I don't like all of this empty, bare leather behind here. Don't like it at all. It's bad title design. And for this belt that's ran for, what, a decade now, until finally getting a redesign later on, or earlier rather, this year, it's just more meh title design from the WWE. Even worse, guys, are these Universal titles that came around in, what, 15, 16? I don't know. I don't remember. These fucking fruit roll-up, goofy Universal titles. I hate these things, man. Talk about lazy and uninspired. This is the very tippy-toppy of it, man. Trash. Both trash. The best take on this design that we've had for over a decade now, the best take on it ever, is this Eco title from Daniel Bryan. Beautiful, contrasting colors. It all pops. It was genius. The whole thing, the whole gimmick, the whole story, the whole run. Love it, love it, love it. Almost right there with the Smoking Skull title belt. It is awesome. Finally, that brings us to this redesign from earlier this year, guys. I like it. I really, really like it. Even though there really wasn't much done here. Okay? But they filled in all of that empty space, all of that bare leather, and gave us some gold. Looks great. And it finally looks like that Super Bowl ring that you can just throw around your waist that they were always aiming for. So, I've got to put our newest title into pretty good. It's honestly pretty good, guys. So there you go. That's how I rank every WWF, now WWE, World Heavyweight title design ever as far as its drip goes. Let me know if there's anything that you would change, guys, in the comments. And also if there's any specific topic you'd like for me to cover in the next tier list. Hit me up in the comments with that. Be sure, if you enjoyed, give me that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. It is helping the channel to grow so much. Thank you. And until next time, guys, take it easy.